Everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit about the syllabus and the course overall. So let me share my screen and show you what we're going to be doing. So um, when you go to Canvas, this is probably what you'll see. You can currently see that the course is currently unpublished. I will publish it here shortly. But all the relevant links are over here. You can email me at this link here, and you can see where all the assignments are due on the calendar. But for right now, I want to go to the syllabus because that's what I want to talk about here. So I've got discussion sessions scheduled on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and the links are here. They're also available. I'll show you another place in a little bit. And the course, the academic calendar, of course, for SBCC can be found here if you want. Since any other important dates, due dates, etc., are all going to be at the bottom or on the individual assignments. And then you can see them on the calendar link as well. So our class meetings are going to be, the class meets asynchronously, which basically means that you're going to do a lot of the learning on your own and ask me questions whenever they come up. So I'm scheduling class meetings, like I said, Wednesday 5 to 6, Saturday 1 to 2. And you're welcome to try and schedule some other meetings with me if those are not working out for you. I'll try to be flexible about when we do that, but just keep in contact with me and let me know if those are not working for you. You can also find the links in course resources. If you go here, that'll take you to this page, which has a lot of stuff on it. This is most materials for the class. I don't have the videos posted here yet. But this is where you'll find most things. Here are the links for the Zoom discussions. I'll note that those are Zoom discussions. This is the textbook that we're using for the class. It's OpenStax. And then here are a couple of other things. If you want Office 365 download, it's free for students, which is really nice. One of my students a couple semesters ago pointed that out to me. And then VMware, which is using SPCC Computer Lab software at home. It's very convenient, but a little bit buggy sometimes. And then the math lab is open, sort of open virtually for the online drop-in tutoring. They didn't get as many takers for this tutoring in the past online semesters as they have when classes were in person. I would take advantage of this. There are some really good tutors. They've got only the very best tutors hired to work there, and so I would really take advantage of this if you get the opportunity, especially since it's not that well populated. And there's a few things here. I got crash course statistics, which I will link all their videos individually in the relevant places in the course. But it's a good overall overview of statistics. They don't tell you how to do the calculations very much, which of course is my job. They do give you a good sense of what you're trying to do with statistics. So I like this video series. Khan Academy I usually like, but I don't like it for statistics all that much. You're welcome to use it, of course. It's a good resource, but I find doing everything by hand like Sal Khan does in his videos tends to make things confusing. You're of course welcome to use it anyway. And then I've got all the class notes. These are all a variety of worksheets that we'll be going over. They have notes and questions on them. They're the thing I would use in a lecture class, and you can just read them. Works fine. You're welcome to ask me questions about them as well. Here are all the homework assignments from first to last. This is all the ones that we're going to do this semester. I don't have due dates on some of these right now. I'm still finalizing some of them, figuring out exactly where I want to put them. But these are the assignments, and if you want to get started on them, you're more than welcome to go ahead. Normally for in-person classes, I give my students quizzes so that they can see sort of what the test questions are going to be like. Here they are. These are not graded. These are just for your benefit to see what the questions are going to be like and what sorts of, like how I write questions and what you can expect to see on a test. These tend to be a little bit harder than the things on the test, but not a lot. So make sure you can do these. And if you can, you're probably in pretty good shape. I'll add to these some as we go along because these are really intended for in-class usage. And so they don't have things like quizzes on a test day, for instance, whereas you might want to have something like that. So I will make some more of those and put them in here, but these are the ones that I've got for you so far. Here are review guides for test 1, test 2, and test 3, as well as the answers for those. These are quite extensive, and I would recommend you use them before you go over the test, or before you go to take the test. My students in the past who have gone over these things thoroughly have done much, much better on the tests in general, especially if they've understood my answers and asked me questions about them and all that. So I strongly recommend these. Once the test has been posted and everybody's taken it, I'll go ahead and put my key up so that you can see it here. I have found that putting extensive comments on tests, especially in computer form, is very time consuming and often leads to students not getting a test back in a timely manner. And so I'm not going to comment the tests very much. I'm just going to put like number of points on that you get on each problem when I grade them, and then leave it up to you to go over my answers on the keys, which of course are not available yet. And then there's a couple other things down here that we'll get to when they're relevant. Hypothesis testing decision tree, which is really helpful later in the course when we have a lot of hypothesis tests to do. All right, let me go back to the syllabus. This is available from modules and course resources. So if you go to modules here, that'll take you to this page, and then the top one here is course resources. And I've got these modules labeled like I would for an in-person class. I think I'll probably change these labels eventually, but for right now, I'm planning on 2 a week, sort of 2 modules a week. One where you go over how to do a well. It'll vary from week to week, but basically each module will contain a video talking about how to do the particular things that we're doing that week, and have a sample, like here are a couple of practice problems for you to try, and then a link to the homework assignment and any relevant quizzes and all that sort of thing. So yeah, you can find the modules here. I'll go ahead and rename these to be a little more descriptive than week 1, week 2, etc. as well. But I haven't done that yet. So as you can see, this Canvas page is still a bit in construction. But anyway, back to the syllabus. So usually you can contact me. Email's the best way. When I say email's the best way, I tend to check my email once a day. So if you need to get a hold of me quicker than that, well, you probably can't get a hold of me quicker than that. But if you need to talk to me in person, Wednesday or Saturday links are the best. And then if you email me, I'll try to get back to you the next day. It might be 2 days sometimes. But yeah, like I said, I check my email once a day, generally in the morning. So if you email me like in the afternoon, I might not get to it till the next morning. The book we're using is Introductory Statistics by I forgot their name, Barbara Olowski and Susan Dean, I believe. It's available from OpenStax. There's a lot of things to like about it. Well, the number one thing to like about it is that it is free. You can simply go here to this link, and this is where you can get the book. You can, if it would stop scrolling me, you can view the whole book online if you would like. You can download an app. You can download a PDF. I tend to use the PDF. You can also order a printed copy if you want to. They're about $33.50, I think was the price last time I looked. Very cheap by college textbook standards. But ordering a print copy doesn't get you anything past the PDF. Basically, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to briefly go to view online because there's one thing I want to show you here. If you want to view the book online, there is, so let's just, oops, go away. So here's chapter 1, right? I'll just use chapter 1 as my example chapter so you can see all the things that are available here. They've got solutions to some problems. The book's a little weird in the way they provide solutions. Sometimes it's to odds, sometimes it's to evens. It's kind of all over the place. The thing I want to point out, though, is there are 2 different links that you will use to find practice problems and homework problems, called practice and homework. I just use these 2 interchangeably for homework problems. So for instance, if I go to practice, please go away on the updates. You'll notice that it starts with problem 1 in practice. And then if I go to homework, it starts with problem 42. If we had scrolled to the end of practice, you would see that practice ends at 41 and homework starts at 42. I don't know why they have broken this into 2 different things, I just use some practice problems, some homework problems. So if you are looking through the book and you're noticing that, hey, number 5 is assigned, but it seems to start at number 42, that probably means that you have to go click on practice to find the problems. You can also see the solutions here to some of the problems. And yeah, so you can see how you're, if you're understanding what the answers are to some of them. I didn't specifically assign ones that do or don't have solutions in the back. It's a little scattershot. You're welcome to ask me about any of them, of course. We can go over them together in discussion sections. But that's what I wanted to point out. Some of the problems come from practice, some come from homework. And you just have to tell by the problem number which ones those are. I wish they wouldn't do that, but that's what they did. Okay, back to the syllabus for one. So we've got a lot of, so this is the official course description for the class. It's quite large. You're welcome to read it, of course. It is, here it is. This is what the class is designed off of. You can see there's quite a bit here if you want to see in detail what we're going to be going over. There you go. I don't know why I opened 2 of those. And here are the official objectives, which can also be found in the description, and the SLOs. These are things that you're sort of graded individually on. It doesn't have anything to do with your grade, but I have to report on how well you do these things separately from your grade. So I have specific questions for them, like, make estimation and inference using linear regression and ANOVA analysis, right? So we have to have linear regression and ANOVA, and I have to report that separately. You don't have to worry about those, but these are the official student learning outcomes if you want to see them. The grading system is going to be fairly straightforward. We're just going to be graded on homework, exams, and the final, homework, midterm exams, and the final. Homework's going to be 25% of your grade. I consider homework to be like an effort grade because, like I said, the homework problems are generally from the book. I have a few that I've written myself that are on the assignments that I'll show you in a little bit. And so you're able to see the answers to a lot of them. And so I'm looking at homework as, did you try everything? Are you honestly trying to learn statistics? And if you are, then I want to reward you with points. That's why it's worth a fairly significant section of your grade, 25% for all the homeworks. There are 17 homeworks, I believe. We'll have 3 exams. We'll talk about those in a little bit. 15% of the grade each. So one exam is worth a little bit less than, or a little bit more than half of the homework grade. And there's 3 of them, and then the final exam is worth 2 midterms. Yeah, so let's talk about the homework for just a second, because that's where you're going to be doing most of your work. So in large part, the homework problems are found at the end of each chapter, like I showed you in just a second ago on the web app. I don't treat practice problems any different than homework problems, and if you have a hard copy of the book, you'll see that they're all just one right after the other. Homework's going to be graded on completion. If you try all the problems and you make an honest attempt to answer all of them, or all of the questions, then I will give you full credit. It's really up to you to determine if you understand the homework or not. And so for instance, like BSing on your homework does literally no good at all, because if you're not learning from it, homework has no purpose, really. And so just make sure that you are understanding what you're doing on the homework, and then turn that into me. I do ask that you show your work on the homework, because it's very easy to copy. I've had a lot of people do that the last couple of semesters, and it's been a pain in the neck. Please don't do that. Copying on your homework does literally nothing for you. If you're not learning from the homework, you're just going to fail the test. The tests are worth a lot more than the homework, and you end up with a bad grade. So yeah, people have tried that. It doesn't work. Don't do it. So to counteract that, you have to show me what you're doing. So show me your work on your homework, and make sure that it's not exact copies of say Chegg or the back of the book, which was a frequent problem last semester. Yeah, I would also ask that you please be very neat. The reading off a computer screen is a little bit harder than reading off of paper, and I don't have the option of just saying, hey, what did you, or just, holding a homework assignment, showing it to someone and saying, hey, what did you mean here, since we're not meeting in person. So please be very neat. Like, take your time to write out everything. I would really recommend doing your homework like all in scratch paper and then kind of rewriting it on something neat. Makes it much easier on me. It's really helpful if you do that. So please do. You can turn in homeworks on the individual assignments, which I'll show you in just a second. There's a submit assignment link. I think that's or maybe submit. Yeah, it's submit something link on each assignment. I would really like it if you would put them into PDF or docx form to ensure that I can read it. PDFs seem to work the best, I think. Docx are fine too. Or if you have an old version of Word, I can also read Docs because I have Word. You can also submit it as a JPEG, but those are questionable at best. Very high resolution JPEGs take up more than a screen, and so I have to scroll around to see what you're doing. It's really inconvenient, although it is readable. Really low ones could be like very small, and I can't actually read them. Even when I zoom in, it's too fuzzy to read. So JPEGs are sort of all over the place. So I would recommend PDFs, and you can get a PDF converter for your phone. So if you want to do it on paper, you can just write it all out, take a picture with your phone, and then submit the picture to me, or take a picture with your phone, ideally convert it to a PDF, and then submit that to me. Also, if you can get all of your pages into one submission, that would be really preferable. It's kind of a pain to have to look at one part of the assignment, then have to click a new file to get the second part of the assignment and go back and forth to see if what you're doing makes sense on the two assignments. It's much easier to just scroll up and down, at least for me. So I would really prefer that you do it all in one PDF if you can. I know it's possible. I'm not sure actually how to do it. I've never had to submit assignments. Should probably do that at one of those. I have a test student I can use. Yeah, I should give that a shot, but I haven't done it yet. So Cam Scanner, for instance, I know we'll put it all into one PDF. That's an app you can get, I believe, for both Apple or iOS and Android. Anyway, yeah. So for your homework, please be neat. Get it all in one JPEG, or not in one JPEG, all in one PDF, if at all possible, and then submit it through the assignment link. So let's go look at the assignment link. So if you go look at one of the assignments, so there, where are my assignments? If you look at the assignments, so for instance, homework 1, your page won't look like this, of course. You can just click on this on the home page where it'll show you all the assignments. It'll look something like this. If I look at student view, you'll see submit assignment here, right? So you click on that, and then it'll ask you for a PDF doc or docx, and then you just drop the file in. So if I click on submit assignment, you would do this, right? You just choose file, and it won't let me do it, of course, because I don't. This isn't a real account. It'll just let you choose file and put that in. Let me go ahead and get out of student view. How do I get out of student view? There it is. When you do that, you'll go in here and you'll see where your grades are. Right? Normally, I wouldn't show you my grade sheet. This is what it looks like. I wouldn't show you my grade sheet because all the students are, be able to see a bunch of private information. But of course, there's nothing in here yet. So here's where you can go to look at your grades. Your link will look a little bit different from this, obviously. It'll just show you and then all of your individual grades, but it'll show you what grades you got on there. And so let me talk briefly about this stuff. There's all the homeworks. 17 homeworks, and then the midterms, there's 3 of those guys, midterm 1, 2, and 3, and then the final exam and extra credit. Then this is the summary here. There'll be a couple of extra credit assignments. It says out of 0 because that's how you get it to be extra credit. I can't put points on it. It'll factor into your grade as a percentage, which isn't what I want. What I'll do with the extra credit is I'll just tack it all onto the final because 1 point on the final exam is worth more than 1 point in other places. 1 point on the final is worth about twice as much as 1 point on homework. And 1 point on homework and 1 point on the midterms are about the same. In the sense that, so there's 300 points of midterms, and there's and they're 45% of your grade. And there are 170 points of homework, because they're 10 each, and there's 17 of them, and that's worth 25% of your grade. And so this is about half as much as this. And so there's about half as many points. So you end up with a point on the homework and a point on the midterms are roughly equal. Not exactly. The point on the midterms is worth like 10% more or something. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but it's a little bit more. And then points on the final are worth almost twice as much, not quite. Yeah, 100 over 117 times twice as much. Yeah, so you can see your grades at the grades link here, of course. Let's go back to the syllabus. Tests. So tests are, since we're meeting asynchronously, I'm not sure I can find a time when we'll all be able to meet for tests. So I will supply you with a couple of times for each test when I will just meet with, I'll just have a Zoom meeting. You'll sit in the Zoom meeting, point your camera at your test, and just take it. And that's basically there so that, one, there's a recording of it, because I'll record the meeting. And so I can see if anybody's doing anything, untoward. And then if you can't meet at those times, or you just prefer not to, I'm going to try and use Proctorio. But kind of a disadvantage with Proctorio, I can't just turn it on. I have to associate it with a quiz in Canvas, which is not currently the way the tests are formatted. So I'm going to try and get everything ready before the first test, which is week 4, I want to say. 5. We'll see in a bit. So you can use Proctorio if you don't want to meet at the time I'm scheduling for. So you can just download the test and take it at your own convenience. Basically, Proctorio essentially uses the camera on your computer to watch what you're doing, and then it can recognize if you have a lot of facial moving around or getting up and leaving, or if there's extra people in the picture and that sort of thing. It can also tell if you navigate away from the Canvas quiz that it's in, or if you move your window around or change the size of the window so that you can use other things, all of which it will detect. The thing is that I want to allow some of that. There are resources on the computer that I want to allow you to use. So I'll see, that's where I'm having the difficulty getting it all working in Proctorio. So we'll see how that goes. It's much more convenient, I think, if you just show up and take it with me there. You can also ask me questions. Sometimes the way, especially statistics questions, are phrased can be confusing, and my students have often wanted to take advantage of having me there. We'll sit in a breakout room in Zoom, and I can answer your questions if necessary. But of course, I can't do that on Proctorio. So the grading is very straightforward: 90, 80, 70, 60 in general. If the only plus or minus grading I will use is if you get 95% or more, I'll give you an A plus. Plus minus grading is problematic in various places. Like, for instance, C minus is not an actual grade. It's not a grade that you can get at SBCC at all, because some colleges accept C minuses as passing, that is, that they're C's, and others see them as they're less than C's and therefore not passing. And so we just don't give them. D minus or D plus doesn't change anything. You still have to retake the course regardless. B minus or B plus work fine. And then A minus is less than 4.0. I think it's 3.8 or 3.75 for your GPA. But A plus is not more than 4. So minuses are bad and pluses aren't good. So I don't like plus minus grading, basically, for that reasoning. I'll give you an A plus if you get 95% or more, but it doesn't do anything for your GPA. It just looks good on your transcript. If you get less than 60%, of course, that's an F. I round from the first decimal place. So if you score 89.5, that gets rounded up to a 90, and you get an A. If you score 89.49, that gets rounded down to 89, and you get a B. So yeah, check your breakpoints. You can check the grade, like I said, in the navigation bar. There is one other grade, FW. FWs are not really like a grade. They're the grade that you give to somebody who never made any attempts to pass the class. That is to say, like, showed up for the first couple weeks and then never came back or contacted the instructor or anything like that. That's what FWs are for. They are essentially the school's attempt. They're only a few years old. FWs didn't exist when I started teaching here 10 years ago. And they're basically the school's attempt to prevent non-students from being able to access student services. So they have extra negative connotations aside from just being an F on your transcripts. They'll do things like if you get FWs, for instance, and you're an international student, that can be enough reason to revoke your student visa. I don't know if it's on the first. I don't think it's on the first one, but I'm not totally sure. I don't actually know what all the negative connotations are, but there are some. That's my point. In general, I won't give FWs unless I have tried to contact the student and they have made no response. But yeah, in general, if you're not trying to pass the class, you need to drop it or withdraw. And if we're past the withdraw date and you realize that you are completely unable to pass the class and you want to go concentrate on other things, come talk to me and we'll talk about what your options are. But basically, FWs are for if you make no attempts to pass the class and you're just sort of trying to take advantage of being counted as a student without being a student. Incompletes had a couple of those last semester, actually. Incompletes are only for if you missed, if something happened at the end of the semester and you weren't able to finish the class, right? You were doing well or acceptably well through the class, and then you had to miss the final. I had students who had to miss the third midterm and the final last time, which is all in the last couple of weeks of class, due to hospitalization or whatever. So in general, if you've been going along in the class and something comes up at the end that there's no time to make it up, then that's what incompletes are for. And they're not for anything else. And they're really only for only for unforeseen things, like if you know you're going to be gone during finals week because of whatever reason, it's up to you to say, okay, well, I need to take the final early, and then arrange to have that happen. Academic honesty is a thing that I've had to deal with a little bit. It's a little bit more relevant in online classes, I think. But basically, there's a lot of words here, and the policy is awkward here. I'll click on the policy, and you'll see why I'm not the biggest fan of it. Academic integrity policy. That's this. It basically lists. Oh, not this one. Sorry. Where is it? Procedure. Is that what it is? I don't remember exactly what it is. Where it is. Here it is. So here are all the things that count as cheating, and then they give you like this 50 bulleted point list or whatever it is. I don't know how many there are here, but there's a lot. And this is a lot of words to basically say the following. We're trying to get you to learn, so don't try to get around learning by copying somebody else and turning it in 4 points. That's not a thing you can do. And so basically the crux of academic honesty or dishonesty is, did you do the work yourself? All I'm looking for from you is an honest effort to learn the material. That's it. And so if you made that honest effort and you did your best to learn the material and then turned in the thing that you did, great. You're in the clear. If you learned that from, or if the way you learned what you did was through things in the class, that's great. Either from discussions with me or from the book or from anything I provided in the class, that's great. It's also equally great if you learn them from something else, like some tutor taught you how to do it, or your uncle, the engineer, taught you how to do the math necessary, or whatever. You learned it off a YouTube video or YouTube video that I didn't link, or you learned it from whatever source, some other book, right? All of that's fine. You can learn any way you prefer. I will try to help you as much as possible by explaining things and by providing videos and stuff. But that's not the only way to learn, right? And if you do things that in a way that is correct, but not the way that I taught, that's 100% fine. Statistics can be done in a bunch of different ways, and a lot of people have different ideas about it. And so if you're using a valid and accepted idea of how to do things in statistics, it's fine with me. The easiest, most convenient way, and the way that meshes best with the class is, of course, going to be the way that I show you. But it's not the only way to learn. So again, if you did the work yourself to answer the question that was asked either on a test or on a homework, then you are in the clear. I don't care how you learned it, where you learned it from, any of that. All I care is, did you give it your best shot yourself without copying anyone? If you did, you're fine, and if you didn't, that's not good. If you have any questions, let me refer you to this last paragraph here. If you have any questions about, like, even if you have done something that you're not so sure about, like you watched a YouTube video and it seemed eerily similar to the question that I asked, and you were able to answer the question then very easily, come talk to me about it. And just say, like, hey, I think I might have been kind of close to cheating on this. Wasn't trying to, but here's what I did. Is that all right? Almost always the answer is yes, the thing you did is fine. I have had people come and tell me, hey, I copied this assignment. I shouldn't have done it, but I was pressed for time and stressed out. I just did it. Like, is that all right? No, that's not okay. But in a case like that, where you come and tell me, I'm significantly more inclined to be lenient, right? So when somebody did that a couple semesters ago, I just said, yes, no, that's not okay. I'm going to have to give you a 0 on the assignment, but if you redo it yourself, show me all your work, I'll give you half credit, right? And that's what they did, and then they got half credit. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about. If you come talk to me, things can be forgiven. I will go off on a little bit of a tangent here and say this. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of people trying new BMX tricks. Very often they'll go off some ramp, flip in the air, and land in this pit of foam cubes. That's kind of what I look like. That's kind of how I look at SBCC, is the foam cube pit of college, where you should be able to try different things and not kill yourself if they don't work out, right? And so that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I'm inclined to help you learn what is okay and what's not okay. Ideally not by you doing things that are not okay, but if you do something that's not okay and you didn't even realize it, and that happens way more often than you think. For instance, sharing answers with people in other sections. I know it's incredibly common for people to do that, to share their answers and have someone, just copy down answers, or even, just get a little preview of the test. A lot of people don't even realize that's cheating. Like, if you try that at a university, you can just get kicked out of the university, right? Lose all of your time and money that you've put into it. It's a disaster. If you do that here, I will simply tell you, don't do that. That's cheating. And if it's a thing that you didn't even realize and it's first time, no big deal, right? We just write it off, no problem. And so that's what I mean. Come talk to me and we can talk about what the right thing to do is. But in general, the penalties will be much less severe if you just come talk to me and tell me about anything you're worried about. All right, let me close with a couple of boilerplate kind of things. So my number one tip for passing the class is keep trying. I know that sounds really trite, but it really does work. So a couple semesters ago, when the school shut down for the first time, like shut down mid-semester, like we were in March, I think, and class went, we went for another month and a half. I had students at the time who had Fs in the course, and they were not on track to pass. And then this, I don't know, jarred something in them that made them try much harder, and they did a lot better on the tests and homeworks from their on. Now, a cynical person might say that they were possibly cheating, and maybe so, but I don't think so. I really got the impression that they were just trying a lot harder. But anyway, at some point in that semester, I had 7 separate students who went from having an F in the class to eventually passing the class. There were a few more who did not do that, right? Had an F in the class and ended up with an F. But the ones who kept trying really showed a lot of improvement. And there is, at every point in the class, until the very last day, there's more points available in the future than there are in the past. So for instance, the class is 15 weeks long, and then there's finals week. The final midterm exam is worth 15%, just like all the other ones. And the final exam itself is worth 30%. That's 45% that is in the last like 4 class meetings, right? So everything that you do up to that point, like at any point except for the last week, there are more points still available in the class than there were that you up to that point. Like more than half of the grade is from week 15 and finals week. And half the grade, or less than half the grade, or about half the grade actually, is weeks 1 through 14. And so it's very easy to think, we spent so much time here, like, oh, I can never catch up. No, you can actually, right? If you have 50% going into the final week and you get high grades on the final and the third exam, you'll still pass the class, right? If they're high enough, of course. So you can get actually quite low in your grade and still be able to pass as long as you keep trying. If it's week 7 and you're at 54%, don't think to yourself, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this. You totally can, but only if you keep trying. And so my number 1 tip for passing is, no matter where you're at in the class, just give it your best shot going forward. Come to more sessions, more of the class discussions, make appointments with me. Like if you can't, you can make it to Wednesday but not Saturday, or Saturday but not Wednesday, or neither one of them, and you just need to meet with me more often, I can schedule more Zoom meetings to talk with you about what we're doing in the class, help you with study habits, help you with whatever you're looking for. But not if you give up, right? If you just give up and leave, there's nothing more I can do, right? I can email you and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you coming back? But if you don't respond, or you don't, you don't keep trying, there's literally nothing I can do to help you pass the class. One of my goals in the class is not in the class, but in general as a teacher, is to help you achieve your academic goals. Like, that's one of the positive things about being a teacher, is that you get to help people do that, right? I get to help energetic young people get ahead in life, right? That's great. That's one of the best non-monetary rewards I get from this job. And so if things are going badly for you, even if they're going badly because you've been super lazy, right? But you want to turn it around now, everybody loves a good redemption story, including me. And I want to help you succeed in the class. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily be able to, but I always want to help you try. And so my number 1 tip for passing is keep trying, and if you're stuck, come see me. If you have a learning disability or other disability that requires provisions with DSPS, you probably know what to do. If you don't, try calling them or going to the link here. As you can see, I don't have due dates on the assignments yet. Still working on finalizing all of those. They'll be up here shortly after you're viewing this video, I would imagine, or they'll be up before while you're watching the video, I guess. So that's the syllabus. Let me go ahead and stop my screen sharing here. If you have any questions, we're going to have our first discussion section on Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. Link is available at the top of the syllabus and on the front page when you click on the Canvas course. And with that, I will sign off and see you hopefully in the discussion section. See you then.